Chad Marshall, Artificial Lift Director with BP Supply. Today I want to have a discussion on the downhole sucker rod pump and how the pressures in the wellbore affect its operation. So I have with me an illustration that will illustrate a typical sucker rod pump in one cycle of that pump. So you may have heard the saying, my pumps don't suck, our pumps don't suck. And that is the case with a sucker rod pump. The pump is actually not sucking fluid, it is utilizing pressures in the wellbore to properly function. So here I have an illustration that will demonstrate the different cycles in the pump and how the different pressures are affected during that operation. So here you can see that I have represented casing. I have our casing annulus, and then you can see the tubing, and then obviously our sucker rod string attached to our pump itself. So here's represented our traveling valve, and here's representing our standing valve, and then the fluids in the wellbore itself. So the first operation that we're going to show here is the upstroke of the pump. So this is somewhere in the upstroke of the pump, and as you can see, we have our traveling valve closed and we have our standing valve open. And the way this is happening is because we have our formation pressure has exceeded the pressure inside of our pump. And when that happens, this allows our standing valve to open and fluid to enter the pump barrel and fill the void that the plunger has created during the upstroke. So next we move to the downstroke part of the cycle. And in this situation, you will see that our traveling valve is open and our standing valve is closed. And this is accomplished because at this point, now our internal pressure has exceeded our hydrostatic pressure, thus opening the traveling valve. So at this point, the traveling valve is open, the plunger now freely falls through the fluid. And then the next cycle, or the next operation to complete the cycle, will be the next part of the upstroke. And again, at this point, we have our trailing valve closed and we have our standing valve open. Again, our wellbore pressure has exceeded the internal pressure of our pump. And in that case, again, we are allowing our standing valve ball and seat to open, and again, to fill that void inside of the pump barrel with fluid. And at the same time, we are lifting that fluid to surface, ultimately putting fluid in our tanks. So again, to summarize quickly, so on our upstroke, we have our traveling valve closed, we have our standing valve open, our wellbore pressure is greater than the internal pressure of our pump, allowing our standing valve to open and the internal pump to fill with fluid. Then we move to our downstroke, opening our traveling valve, closing our standing valve, and allowing because of that, our pressures are greater inside the pump than the hydrostatic head. At that point, our traveling valve will open and our plunger will freely fall through the fluid. Then we move to the upstroke where our traveling valve closes, our standing valve opens, our wellbore pressure is now greater than the internal pressure of our pump, and now we lift fluid to surface from that point. So just a quick example of how a pump works. You probably have heard the terminology, maybe your pump company saying, our pumps don't suck, and that is a true statement. It's a play on words, but it is a true statement on how a pump operates downhole. Thank you for listening, and tune in for future presentations from BP Supply.